What's up, guys? Welcome back to Unqualified Critics. We're talking home arcade today. That's a huge segment, but unfortunately for anyone who covers this on YouTube, including yours truly, and maybe unfortunately for the viewers too, because then you guys get less to watch, this is a segment that comes in starts and stops. The home arcade products tend to kind of all be announced at once, and then we wait a few months, then they actually show up in stores, and then some of us buy them and review them for you. But there's always time in between all of this. And this is one of those times when there just hasn't been a lot of new information lately. But here we have X-Men versus Street Fighter picked up, I presume, at Walmart, because this looks like the basic package. And let's put a pin in that and come back to it. But this is from Techno Toys, a user on Instagram. And yeah, it's Wi-Fi enabled. It has the live branding, so you get that free multiplayer. This is the first fighting cabinet Arcade1up has done with online connectivity, and that's important. For all the fretting and concern and gnashing of teeth about connecting the NBA Jam to hardwire and people being upset it didn't have an Ethernet port. And of course, we found out thanks to Ralph that you can connect Ethernet with micro USB, but that's beside the point. But a lot of people are really worried about it not having Ethernet. My point was, you don't need Ethernet for that cabinet. That cabinet passes so little information over its internet connection, and it's not a Twitch-based game. You're going to be fine. There's plenty of room for a little bit of latency in a game like NBA Jam. That is not true for fighting games. Fighting games are a different animal. Fighting games need to have razor-sharp net code so that when you play your move, there is so little room between you inputting the command and then the other person halfway across the globe getting punched in the face. So this is one where I am curious to see if they pulled it off and if this actually works correctly. This also doesn't look to have an Ethernet jack. I looked at the FCC listing. There's no mention of an Ethernet jack. But again, I'm sure you could use the micro USB cable to Ethernet, which is something you might want to do with this one. I didn't recommend it. I did a video on it, but I didn't really recommend it for NBA Jam for all the reasons I just mentioned. But again, fighting games are a different animal. So keep that in mind. And Ethernet or not, if their software is not efficient, then this won't work. So their software has to be on point. But I'm not saying it won't be, by the way. I'm just saying that's really the big question with this cabinet. We also know we're not getting Sandwall parts, and we are getting some overlap with the existing Marvel Superheroes cabinet. Now, like many of you, I bought the Marvel Superheroes limited edition because it came with Sandwall buttons and sticks, which I'm a big fan of, especially for fighting games. So for that reason, and because this games list is similar, I don't plan to buy this cabinet, but I'm sure many people on YouTube will pick this up, and I'm sure there'll be lots of reviews on it. I'm just sitting this one out. Good cabinet, great artwork, good games list, but it just has overlap with what I already have. And I am a little disappointed to see increasingly new cabinets having some of the same games list as products we already have. And it's never a one-to-one, so it's not like, oh, I'm going to buy this and get rid of my Marvel. It's, well, I better keep my Marvel because, hey, that has Punisher on it, for example, which is not on this cabinet. So it just makes it a little tough to figure out exactly which cabinets to get, but that's beside the point. I might be in a small minority here. I think for a lot of people, the online play is the real answer. Now, I will tell you guys, I held off on buying Mortal Kombat 2, and not because I don't like Mortal Kombat. I suck at Mortal Kombat, but I like the game. I definitely appreciate its place in gaming history. I definitely appreciate its aesthetic, all of that. But the cabinet wasn't very well executed. And you know damn well they're going to re-release Mortal Kombat. And when they do, I bet it'll have an online connection. So I'm glad I held off on that. But I jumped in on the Marvel Limited Edition with both feet. Because for $400, you got all Sandwall controls. I still think that's the best value cabinet Arcade1up has made to date. Now, there remains no word on the Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet, which has mostly the same games as X-Men vs. Street Fighter with one difference. So it's just, again, it's kind of confusing to keep track of, but this one's probably going to come down to which artwork you like. Do you like the X-Men Street Fighter artwork? Do you like the Marvel vs. Capcom? I myself am partial to the MVC artwork. They're both CPS2 board games. In other words, these were both developed for the same arcade platform. And I know most of you guys watching this know what that means, but if you think about consoles, we all understand different platforms of consoles. Nintendo and then Super Nintendo, right? Those are two completely different platforms. Well, there was CPS1 and then CPS2 and then CPS3. And CPS2 was responsible for a lot of really iconic games. That was an arcade platform that had a long life and a huge games list. And X-Men vs. Street Fighter was one of them. So my point is they've emulated games from this platform before. I have no reason to believe the emulation won't be great. I'm guessing, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing that our buddies at Code Mystics are going to be doing the software for this cabinet only because they've done the only other online connected cabinet to date. So I would think they would want to reuse them here instead of have to reinvent the wheel. But I don't know that for sure. Again, there are just a lot of questions, and we're going to have to wait and see when reviews pop up. Hopefully this Technon person does some kind of review or post something. We'll have to keep an eye on it. In the meantime, we'll keep an eye out and an ear out for other updates in this very important niche that I know we all love, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Hey, consider hitting that join button to support the channel, and thanks so much for watching.
Dripping lights paint the sky.